Now that you've found UBN Radio and discovered our quality talk shows, it's time to spread the word to friends, family, and the universe. 24 hours of music and talk. Radio without limits. That's why people keep coming back for more. That's UBNradio.com.
Jump off that exhausting hamster wheel and into balanced living with Dr. Marissa.
Promise you joy in the mystery.
Dr. Marissa, also known as the Asian Oprah. Her mission, to be a beneficial presence on the planet. Her purpose, to be your personal advocate to live, laugh, love, learn. Her life motto, don't die wondering. Take back your life with Dr. Marissa Pay.
And welcome. You are tuned into my weekly talk radio show. Take my advice, I'm not using it. Get balanced with Dr. Marissa every Tuesday at naturally high noon at Universal Broadcast Radio here in Hollywood, California, out of the Sunset Gower Studios. And every Thursday at 7, Saturdays at 1 Pacific Standard Time on my syndicated CNBC News Radio channel KCAA AM 1050, FM 106.5, and now everywhere on iHeartRadio. And thank you so much for all of the likes that I asked for my birthday last week. You guys came through fabulously, and a surge of friend requests. I'm almost at the 5,000 limit. And yes, the songs that I play at the end of my shows are my own composition. Thank you for asking. And the voice is mine too. Thanks for asking, and thanks for buying my songs on iTunes. I have great fullness, and I am celebrating my birthday all month, so you can continue to do that if you would like. And if you haven't noticed, I wanted to thank my beautiful staff interpreter here to add to my radio for our Deaf Series episodes. Thank you, Sharon. And if you've missed my other shows with Rick Barry, Dr. Pat Allen, and Dr. Michael Bernard Beckwith in the series, please go to my YouTube and watch for free. Now, most of you know that I've been running the 21-day fast from complaining with Dr. Marissa online now for the past 62 months. And I started July 1st, 2011, after I was challenged by a speaker at the Agape International Spiritual Center, Edwene Gaines, who said that if I could reach 21 days in a row without complaining, that I would get spiritually transcended. So I'm always up for a challenge. So that was my excuse to start this fast. That's a good life habit that we've been doing online. We've grown from 40 to over 8,000 now. I haven't done an updated count, but I'm so grateful that there are many, many more people not complaining. And then people began to tell me about the big daddy of not complaining. I had not heard of him, but I am happy to have him on the show today. He is Will Bowen, and he is a #1 international and Amazon best-selling author, award-winning professional speaker and trainer, and the founder of A Complaint-Free World and the World Authority on Complaining. He's been featured on Oprah, NBC's The Today Show, CBS Sunday Morning, ABC World News Tonight, and featured in magazines like People, O Magazine, Self, and Chicken Soup for the Soul. So from from Oprah guest now to the Asian Oprah guest, please welcome Will Bowen.
Hello, it's great to be here.
Now, World Authority on Complaining, does that mean you know the 7 billion ways to complain? Are you good at it?
No, honestly, I knew that before I actually got into this. I was the world's biggest complainer. This was not something I ever aspired to do. It was something that I was just fortunate enough to get involved with, and it's changed my life. And now we have sent out over 11 million complaint-free bracelets to people in 106 countries.
That's fabulous. And so tell me, so you were a complainer, and then how did the idea come to you? What were the series of events?
Same place as you. I was teaching at a. I am an ordained minister. Was teaching at a Unity Church on Berry Road, which is I'm an ordained Unity minister, And I was teaching Ed Wingate book, The Four Spiritual
Oh,
Laws of
how
Prosperity.
funny. I didn't know.
And in the book, as you said, Ed Wingate recommends that we go 21 days without complaining. And what I decided to do was to teach this, but then I thought, how in the world would you know what day you're on? And what I came up with was I was actually in the shower. I finished my talk, went to take a shower, which is where all great ideas come from.
Yes.
And I thought about the Livestrong bracelet. For some reason, that just popped in my mind because they were so popular then. So I called the church secretary and said, call a local toy manufacturer or company and see if we can get some bracelets. And she said, what color? And I said, I don't know, purple. That's supposed to be a spiritual color, I guess. And we did it, and I challenged people to do the 21 days. To every time, the idea is every time you complain, you take the bracelet off your wrist and put it on the other wrist. So you start off, you're on day one, you complain, you're back on day one. And so I handed out 250 of them. By the end of the service, we had requests for another 500 more. Within 10 days, we had requests for 9,000, and then the media took off. And so, yeah, it's just been amazing.
Yeah. And it's, it is so needed because I believe, I don't know about you, the law of attraction, that what you attend to grows bigger. And I have to say that a lot of the things that have been happening on a negative front in our country, I believe, are partly due to some of the bad habits we've picked up. And there's not one place you can go to in line, at a movie, at the grocery store, at the gym. If you just are quiet and you listen to the chatter around you, every single conversation has some kind of complaining in it. And I believe that the news doesn't help. CNN, constantly negative news, doesn't help us because we're, as Michael calls it, weapons of mass distraction. They, if it bleeds, it leads. And so you're automatically listening to something right out of the block in the morning that leads you to more complaining, like where's this, the world's going to hell in a handbasket, or what's wrong with people, and it just goes on from there. So what would you say the things that are the toughest to stop complaining about?
The toughest to stop complaining about, honestly, I would say probably is yourself. People only complain for one of 5 reasons, but most people complain about themselves. And what I mean is that they say negative things to themselves about themselves. And we all know how damaging that is. How destructive that is.
Right. So that self-critic, that critical talk.
Yes, absolutely.
So that's one. What are the other 4?
Oh, no. I mean, for the 5 reasons people complain, that's a little different. Let me explain that.
Okay, yes.
Yeah, people complain for one of 5 reasons. And I came up with an acronym to remember them, and actually things you can say to people who complain to you for those reasons. The thing about complaining, and I never set out, as I said, to be the world authority on complaining. What happened was this took off, and then everybody starts writing me and asking me questions. Is this a complaint? Is that complaining, et cetera? So I just deep dove into the subject and have for the last 10 years. And
that's why you're on my show, because I want to know.
I'm honored to be there. So the 5 reasons people complain, as remembered by the acronym GRIPE, because they're all to get social needs met. And actually, I should explain something real quick before I get into that. And that is that if you, in my training and teaching, if you're speaking directly and only to a person who can resolve the issue, you're not complaining. So in other words, if I call Amazon with a challenge with my computer, that is feedback and a request. It's not a complaint.
Okay. That's good to know.
So the way we complain to get our social needs met is GRIPE, G-R-I-P-E. This is how you remember it.
Okay.
The G stands for get attention. Getting attention is a basic human need. Everybody wants to be noticed, needs to be noticed. It's a need. It's a need. And so some people will just, and by the way, this was my main reason for complaining. I was the middle child in a very complaining family, and I found that if I out-complained everybody else, I would get attention.
Right.
So the G stands for get attention. And when someone comes to you to complain to get attention, what I found the best thing to ask is, say, what's going well? In other words, if someone's complaining about their job, you say, what's going well with your job? Or their kids, what's going well with your kids? Just keep asking that question. So that's the G, get attention.
So you're switching the attention from negative attention to positive attention.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah,
Perfect.
it's
I
a
can
little
remember
bit of conversational jujitsu, turning their own energy back on them. So the G stands for get attention. People complain to get attention. Notice me. The R in GRIPE stands for remove responsibility. Now, what that means is if you give someone a task, you give your kids, somebody at work, whatever, you give them a task and say, hey, I want you to go do this. And they'll start complaining about all the circumstances around it as a way of saying, I'm really not going to do it, but I don't want you to tell you that directly because you'll get upset. So I'm just going to complain about all the things around it, the conditions, so that you'll let me off the hook.
Teenagers have this down.
Teenagers have nailed it, haven't they? Yeah. Yeah. So they're just trying to remove themselves from responsibility. So when someone is doing that, when someone is complaining to remove themselves from responsibility, and I actually got this, it's a beautiful line from the great Tony Robbins, and that is to spin it around and say, if it were possible, how might you do it? And that is a magic phrase. When somebody says, well, I can't do this, can't do that, if it were possible, how might you do it? Because it moves it from the practical to the theoretical. So they're no longer talking about the actual task. It's hypothetical at that point.
Right.
So to get attention, remove responsibility, the I in GRIPE stands for inspire envy. It's another way of bragging. People, it's done in two ways. First of all, it's done to let people know about you or something you possess. For example, I have a friend here in Kansas City who just bought a $40,000 boat. And the reason I know that is he's always saying things like, when you spend $40,000 on a boat, you think it would come with a better trailer or better seat covers, but his sentence begins with, he complains. See?
Right.
So it's not like he's bragging. The other way we complain is when we complain about other people, it's a way of saying, I don't have the character flaw that they have. When somebody gossips or talks negatively about another person, it's a way of drawing a comparison to the speaker so that the speaker will not appear to be that way.
Okay.
So complaining to inspire envy, bragging. And what you want to do is when you figure out that a person is coming to you to complain, to inspire envy or brag.
You just say, get over yourself.
You read my book, didn't you?
No, but I can tell what my favorite chapter is going to be.
Actually, that's not it. What you have to do is these people are desperate for attention and compliments anyway. A person who complains to inspire envy is often a very insecure person.
Yes.
So what you need to do is be ready to compliment that person. And especially if they complain about somebody else, like they say, well, we're ready to start the meeting, but Tom's not here. You can say, well, you know what I like about you, Scott? You're always on time. Because that's really what he wants anyway.
Right. Okay. All right. I don't know. Stroking an egomaniac with an inferiority complex I don't know if that's the tactic I can swallow, but okay, keep going. We'll try.
It works as a block for complaining.
Okay.
It absolutely works.
All right.
Now, the P in GRIPE is power. This we see going on right now in the United States. This election has been the best example of people complaining for power. In my opinion, they all have done it.
Yeah.
I think Donald Trump and Bernie Sanders are a master at it because as soon as the lights turn off on them and the camera's not pointing at them, they find something new to start complaining about. And so people do that in families. They'll complain to other people in the family to build alliances. I've got two aunts that are in their 80s, and they're still always emailing the other family about why they're mad at each other.
Oh, that's funny.
So building alliances. So that's power. People complain to have power. The way to overcome someone who is complaining to you for power, typically what they'll do is they'll complain to you about another person, is to say,
well, you
should
have
a lot to talk about.
Okay. Two of you have a lot to talk about?
Sounds like the two of you have a lot to talk about. Just don't take the bait.
Yeah, I was going to say, well, you should have heard what they said about you.
Yeah,
No, I can't do that.
Pretty
Huh?
soon they'll end up complaining about you, I think, though. If you do that.
They probably already have.
I know.
Oh,
So
right.
the
So,
E in GRIPE then stands for excuse poor performance. And what that is the past tense of remove responsibility. And remove responsibility, you give somebody a task, they complain about all the reasons why they can't do it. In excuse poor performance, they've already been given a task and they've blown it. So now they don't want to come up to you and say, hey, you know that thing you asked me to do? Well, I totally botched it. So instead they say, well, this didn't work and this didn't arrive on time and I needed the numbers from accounting, et cetera. And that's how they do it. So those are the 5 reasons, GRIPE.
interesting. And if you've just tuned in and you're wondering why we're talking about complaining, you are tuned in to Take My Advice. I'm not using it. Get Balanced with Dr. Marissa, a show about hope and happiness instead of complaining. No gossip, no scandal, no K-words, no Kardashian talk, and no complaining. Yes, we have Will Bowen here, who is the world authority on not complaining, and he just gave us a fabulous tool called GRIPE for the 5 reasons why people complain and how to get past them. Now, I have a moose on the table question for you, and this is, I'm Canadian, so it's my version of elephant in the room is moose on the table. So, you are the world authority. I'm a mini, 21-day fast from complaining authority. I'll fess up if you do. Do you practice what you teach? If I had your wife come on here right now, would she say, he really does walk the talk?
I would say that now more than ever,
Okay.
I walk the talk.
Okay.
There are times when things are upsetting and you just find yourself, but it's very rare. What I found is that because there's 4 stages to mastering anything, and once you move through them and you get to what's called the conscious competence stage, that's where you're really watching everything that comes out of your mouth so you don't want to switch your bracelet. Something happens and it just sort of makes you, whoops, I'm about to complain. And one thing I've learned is that the word but is your friend. The word but is an erasure word. So I could say, it's hot today in Kansas City. Or I could say, it's hot today in Kansas City, but at least it's not raining, and then you negate it.
Right. So, because there is the thought or the theory that if you don't express, and this is when I qualify, people will say, but when bad things happen, I can't just pretend like nothing bad has happened. And so I've, through the years, sort of given the permission for myself that there's a difference between complaining and venting. And venting is the healthy release of negative energy in a non-harmful way. And then there's limits on them. So I tell them 2 minutes. You have a vent partner. They time you for 2 minutes, and they are not allowed to solve your problem. You're allowed to say whatever. Swearing's fine if the other person's okay. And then at the end of 2 minutes, it's done. And you cannot say that anything about that again unless something new happens. And you have this for 2 minutes every day with 2 people. And if you don't use it that day, it's not like singular. There's no rollover. You don't get 4 minutes tomorrow. You only have the 2 minutes. And so that, for me, the theory is you have to, if you don't express the negative energy, it will fester inside you and infect. What do you think about that?
2 things.
Okay.
One, I really do. I like what you're recommending. I think it's a very good idea. For example, I got a little bit of crazy bad news yesterday, and when I saw my daughter, I told her about it, but she knew what was going on, so I was kind of updating and connecting with her. I wasn't going on and trying to get her upset with me. You use the word venting. I use the word processing.
Okay.
And what I always recommend, and I'd like to share a study with you that's fascinating, but as far as processing goes, to me, you want to tell somebody what's going on with the expectation that that person will tell you something about yourself that you can change to improve the situation. So in other words, it's not just expressing it, it's also saying, well, now what can I do different? That's how I see it. The study I'd like to share with you was done by Dr. Brad Bushman at the University of Michigan. Whenever I do live trainings with companies, I always share this story because it's amazing. What Bushman did was he took 20 students and he put them all in individual rooms, gave them each a piece of paper and a pen. And then he said, I want you to write an essay on anything you want. You've got 20 minutes, we'll come collect it.
Yeah.
At the end of 20 minutes, they came and collected it. They said, you know what we're going to do? We're going to have another one of a student grade this, one of your peers, and then we'll bring it back to you. Mm-hmm. Well, there was no other student. A research assistant took a red pen and wrote F, worst essay I've ever read, on each one to make them angry.
Right.
They then wanted to see which is more effective, feeling your anger or expressing your anger. So they gave 10 of the students pillows, and they told them they could beat them against the wall, hit the table, jump up and down, curse, do whatever they wanted to do to get the energy out, and they had 15 minutes. Mm-hmm. The other 10, they said, we just want you to feel how angry you are. Just feel it. Just feel it. Mm-hmm. At the end of the 15 minutes, they went back into each of their rooms, and they had a tray with a glass and a bottle of hot sauce on it.
I thought you were going to say vodka. Okay,
go ahead. It was hot sauce. And they told them, we feel so bad at what that other student did to you, which, of course, there was no other student.
Right.
But we are going to let you pour as much hot sauce as you want into this glass, and we'll make that student drink it. The students who had expressed their anger, gotten it out, poured on average 3 times as much into the glass.
Interesting.
And not only that, they then gave them a list of several words. They gave them about a dozen words. I remember 3 of them, but they had blanked out the letters. And it was like R blank, P blank, C, H, O. Anyway, the letters were blanked out. Uh-huh. And what happened was the students who had supposedly, let me start with the students who just felt their anger. Uh-huh. To them, the words became choose, rope, and kite. Uh-huh. Uh-huh. To the people who had expressed their anger, the words became choke, rape, and kill.
Wow.
So to me, that just shows that it stirs the pot when we're expressing.
I thank you for sharing that. I will definitely, I'll do my own control study on my clients. You're not allowed to vent anymore. They'll be mad at me for that. Out comes the sriracha. But that's very, very interesting, because that has a lot of implications for world peace, for the way that we express what we're going through in America with all of the, the police and the shootings and the retaliations. It really does have some bearing on how we deal with our anger. So yeah, that's a great study, and the implications. I already am going science on me here, like on violent games. What does that do? Because if that's expressing, right, you're expressing yourself in those. That's really interesting. So what would you say?
And you're referring, if I may,
yes,
I
please.
think what you're referring to is that you're saying that violent games increase levels of violence in children. Is that right? Because I've seen
the expression of it, like you said, yeah.
Yes.
So, and you agree with that?
I absolutely.
Okay. So what would you say the nicest things that have happened since you became known for complaining?
Well, I mean, this is one of them. I mean, I get to travel around the world and speak. I was in Bali back in October doing a speech mm-hmm. and doing a live training, and I've been all over China and Canada and the United States, and I just love going out and meeting people, and I just love speaking and talking and working with people. That's a lot of it. So for me personally, it would be that. Mm-hmm. And also, of course, meeting Oprah and Matt Lauer and all the wonderful people that I've met and that you know as well. But the really great things that I didn't expect have been the emails, the cards, the letters, the phone calls, and the people who've literally flown I had a woman fly from Seattle to Kansas City to meet me, to tell me that she and her husband had filed for divorce. And then she read my book, and there's a lot in there about relationships. And I said, because you don't want to complain to the person you're in a relationship with unduly, unless you're processing, and you don't want to complain about them. And she said that they decided to do that. And she said that it's like they're now on a constant honeymoon. They just, because I find that I like to say that our mouth is a customer and our brain is a manufacturer. So the brain is manufacturing negative thoughts, come out as complaints. Negative thoughts, complaint. If the customer stops buying what the manufacturer's producing, the manufacturer retools,
Right.
and you literally become happier. That has been the most surprising thing about this. People say, I am so much happier. And that's why when someone completes 21 days in a row, which actually usually takes 4 to 8 months, we send them a certificate of happiness to congratulate them because we know they're happier.
That's great. That's great. And I've been blessed too to have that same kind of feedback where I've actually had husbands send me thank you notes because their wives have been much easier and more romantic and loving because she stopped complaining. And it is that time for us to take a little break as we get Will back. The Skype had a little hiccup, but it's perfect timing because I'd like to thank the sponsors who make this show possible. And for this one, it is hi, you're back. We're going to go to a little bit of a promo break. We lost you for a second. I think Skype in Kansas City Hollywood connection had a little break. They were complaining. Somebody was complaining. So we'll be back in 2 and 2. Peace in and peace out.
No way! I'm so cold. I'm so hot. I'm so hungry. I'm so full.
Did that complaining sound familiar to you? Hi, I'm Dr. Marissa, your cheerleader for hope and happiness 88% of the time. And they also call me the Asian Oprah. Well, I have a perfect app for you if you want to lose negative weight and stop complaining. Yes, the 21-day Fast from Complaining with Dr. Marissa app is now available. Every day you'll get a balanced tip that keeps you from complaining, as well as some sound effects. If you do complain and you press a button, it will give you sound to keep you from complaining. And if you make it the entire day without complaining, you'll get a nice warm. And there's a YouTube link also to help you not complain. And then at the end of the 21 days, because it takes 21 days to create a good habit, you'll get an overall score as well as a way to post your triumph with your friends and family on Facebook. So don't complain, have fun, and remember it's all about balance. Peace in and peace out.
Peace in, peace out.
If you think you don't have the money to start your own business, then I have fantastic news. Now you can own a business that has proven to be a phenomenal success all around the country with very little upfront investment. We're talking the Selfie Station. Selfie Station is a portable touchscreen photo booth that people and businesses book for weddings, corporate functions, trade shows, proms, promotional events, parties, and more. Selfie Station captures lifelong memories that can be emailed, texted, printed, personalized, and even uploaded to social media. You won't believe how much people will pay you to make your business the life of their party. It's the easiest income you'll ever earn and pays for itself in no time at all. You can start your own business right now. Let Selfie Station be the picture taker, icebreaker, and your moneymaker. Now, as a special introductory offer, you get $500 off the professional package. That's right, $500 off. SelfieStationPodcast.com. Type in the name of my show, Dr. Marissa, so I can get credit, please. Thank you. SelfieStationPodcast.com. That's SelfieStationPodcast.com. And get ready to make money today. Perfect. And welcome back. You are tuned in to Take My Advice, I'm Not Using It. Get Balanced with Dr. Marissa every Tuesday at naturally high noon at Universal Broadcasting Network. Every Thursday at 7, Saturday at 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time on my syndicated CNBC News Radio channel, KCAA. AM 1050, FM 106.5. And welcome to my new listeners in Albuquerque, New Mexico. I got a nice message that I'm on Progressive Talk Radio over there. So I am so grateful to have even more ways to splatter you with more hope and happiness. And today we are talking about one of the foundations, I think, on making yourself happier, and that is watching what comes out of your mouth. And if you're not complaining, you're not bringing yourself and other people down. And I brought the world's authority on complaining to the show today, Will Bowen, and he's back. All right. So, question for you on your past. I read a little blip here that you actually were not a happy child. And that you were 100 pounds overweight and angry, but came from a abused family or a healthy family, or what was that? Tell us about your background.
I would say there was a lot of abuse, a lot of neglect, a lot of criticism, harsh treatment. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And as a result, I used food as a coping mechanism. So when I was always the fat kid all through high school, through college, you can't see anything but my head now, but I've got a 32-inch waist now. But yeah, I had a 44-inch waist when I was a junior in high school. And it was interesting, too, because I lost the weight, and I thought that somehow I would become happier as a result of just doing that. Right. I felt more comfortable, and I felt less, I'd just say less uncomfortable, but that didn't do it. Happiness is something you have to, as you know, cultivate within yourself.
Yes, it's a choice. Yeah. So you, and then you became, what was your line of work before you started doing complaining?
Before I started doing complaining.
Before you started complaining.
I was complaining the whole time, but yeah. No, actually, I was in sales. I sold advertising for radio stations in Seattle and Charlotte.
We could use you.
Loved it. Thank you. I always did really well at it, too, because I really liked it.
Yeah.
And then I left that, and I sold Yellow Pages for several years and sold cell phones briefly. So I was always in some form of sales because I love working with people and helping them.
Right. And now you're selling something that's actually good for them. Not to say the other stuff wasn't good for them, but this is definitely good for them. Your book. So it's a #1 best-selling book. Tell us, there you go. And A Complaint-Free World. And it's in how many countries? I think you mentioned.
The book has been published in 25 different countries. It's sold a little over 4 million copies.
Good for you.
It was the #1 best-selling. I'm sorry?
Congratulations.
Oh, thank you. I wish I could take some credit, but I thank you.
Well, you did write it.
That's true. That's true. I found out, it was kind of funny. I went to China to do a speaking tour. Someone hired me and brought me over. And I didn't know this because it takes a while to get reports on your books. But I landed and everybody is pointing at me. And I thought, they must think I'm Wayne Dyer or something like that. But I found out that they knew me, that my book was the biggest selling book in all of China in 2009.
Wow, that's great. That's great. Yeah, I found out I have a group out there that loves me too, but I look more like them than you do. So good for you. So what would you say, what's your challenge for people today in our country with the elections going on, with our backward sliding race relations, with our economy, with people really disillusioned with the economic system, with the government? There's so much to complain about. Why should you not complain?
The thing is, there has always been a lot to complain about. If you and I had done this interview 6 years ago, there would have been a lot to complain about. I'm not saying that things are not particularly challenging right now, but I will say that I think that the complaining compounds it because our focus is on what's wrong, and therefore we're going to perpetuate what's wrong. We need to begin to, what's it going to be like when we go 5 years without hearing that a policeman shot an unarmed black man, or that someone killed a policeman, or something. What we need to get inside of us what that's like. And the thing about it is, and this is why it's so compelling, and why I talked about power earlier. If I came up to you and I said, Marissa, I'm going to go and make the world a better place, come join me. You may say, maybe I will, maybe I won't. But if I say, Marissa, they're sewing kittens together in, some foreign country, oh my gosh, let's go stop that. It's what I call enrage and engage. Enrage and engage. If you can enrage someone, you can engage them. And the media is designed to enrage you. That's what it's supposed to do. It's supposed to upset you. It's supposed to keep you off. And I was glad to hear you dismiss news. I always tell my friends and fans, don't watch the news.
Yeah, except the Olympics. I love the Olympics. But yeah, it's CNN constantly negative news. So, but let me come back, and so people will say, but Dr. Marissa, it's the truth. I'm talking and complaining about things that are the truth. So are you telling me to put my head in the sand? So I want to hear.
Not at all. I'm telling you, if you're going to talk about truth, let's pretend we're in court and talk about the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. And that is that there is so much great stuff going on in this world. There are so many wonderful things that are happening. People are helping each other. People are growing. People are expanding. People are becoming more enlightened. They're contributing. This new generation just thrills me because this is a group of people, the young generation today, they want meaning more than money. They want to make the world a better place. We need to start focusing on all the good stuff instead of getting together and just talking about all the challenging stuff.
Yeah.
And the reason we do it, I find, is complaining is a competitive sport. You'll notice that. One person will complain, somebody always tries to outdo them.
And if you think that's bad, blah, 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 blah. Yeah. So you're absolutely preaching to the choir. There is so much abundance. See, I'm not the only one that talks like this. There's so much good. There's so many things to be grateful for. There's so much well-being. There's so many, we don't have to fight for our breath. We're alive. We have so much, like in our country, especially of all the countries, this country really has so much to be grateful for. You know, the right to vote, the right to decide, the right to choose, you know, running water, toilet paper, food, entertainment, you name it, we have it. And yet I think we lead. I travel, I have to tell you this little story. I got to do a lecture tour in China as well, and I did some work in Europe, and I started carrying my Canadian passport. I was embarrassed at the amount of complaining. Every time I was at a hotel or at a restaurant and I heard complaining, it was American. So I was like, what? And so I started carrying a Canadian passport. This is a true story. But if we can, and I love what you have on your website, Maya Angelou, one of my favorite teachers, and her, what would happen if 1% of the population stopped complaining? What would happen? And I think we're your work, my work, the work of Edwene Gaines, the work of Deepak Chopra, Oprah, Dr. Michael Bernard Beckwith, Neil Donald Walsh, he's been on my show too, Don Miguel Ruiz. I think this is the time. This is the time where we can, Marianne Williamson, sorry, she's also been on my show. This is the time where we don't have to be the reactors. We can be the proactives and stop GRIPEing, right? And not complain and find the good. Yes? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So how do we find you?
How do you find me? Go to willbowen.com. That's Will, W-I-L-L, Bowen, B-O-W-E-N.com. And we have got free programs for businesses they can download to implement the complaint-free program. We've got it for schools. We've got it for churches. They're all free. Just go to willbowen.com.
That is fantastic. And you are, your work is so important. And I'm grateful that you're doing it, that I'm also awarding you the Dr. Marissa Beneficial Presence on the Planet Award.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So I always end the show with my guests saying to you, you say that I couldn't have done this alone. Are there people that you would like to give a love, peace shout out to, that you are grateful for, that helped you with what you're doing now?
Oh, absolutely. Edwene Gaines, of course. I mean, it was so funny when this took off. I had met Edwene once, but I never really had connected with her. And I called her and I said, listen, they want me to do this book. The 21 Days Without Complaining was your idea. She said, darling, you go right ahead. You just go ahead. So, of course, Edwene, my wife, my daughter Leah, who has, at the age of 16, edited one of my books. She's one of the sharpest people I've ever met.
That's
And
beautiful.
and when we first started sending out the bracelets for over 6 months, they were packed by volunteers. We could have never done that without them. So I want to thank them.
Yes, that's great. That's great. And my Asian Oprah giveaway, Will has generously, what are you giving away?
I'm going to give away 2 copies of my book, A Complaint-Free World, How to Stop Complaining and Start Living the Life of Your Dreams. And I'm going to give away 2 10-packs of complaint-free bracelets. So you'll
That's
have 10
awesome.
bracelets to give to your friends, each of you who's got
The
2.
2 winners. Thank you so much. And the way to win those, I think one will go to my website, drmarissa.tv, and put in the subject line of the guest register GRIPE, and that will identify you as the Asian Oprah winner of Will Bowen's book and 10-pack of his rubber band reminder. You don't use those to actually hurt yourself, right? You don't
No,
snap.
no, no,
Okay.
no, actually, no.
I
No,
forgot to
that was
ask you
popular
about
in the
that.
70s,
Yeah.
but no, you actually take it off your wrist. And the average person will switch the bracelet 15 to 30 times a day.
15 to 30 times a day. Yeah. And then the second one will be on my Facebook. So if you go to Dr. Marissa, give me the finger, actually give me a like, a thumbs up, and then message me there and ask for the Asian Oprah giveaway on Not Complaining, and you will get the other one. So that is a great, generous gift. Thank you so much, Will. And again, thank you for coming on the air to explain why we complain and how we can respond in a way that will minimize this very bad habit of ours and make humankind again. Thanks, Will Bowen.
Thank you very much.
Well, that was delightful. And it's that time at the end of the show for our balance bar, where I invite you to step up and find ways to get more balance in your life, as well as find out what I'm doing that you can join me too. So the first thing is get ready to stop listening to yourself complain. Yes, the 21-day fast from complaining. Today is day 16. And the balance tip for today is eating a complaint leaves a bad taste in my mouth. Rinsing with gratitude or a compliment restores my kissability. And so if you'd like to join the 21-day fast from complaining, round 63 starts September 1st. So you can do that. And if you register, then not complain for 21 days in a row, you will win a pack of my 52-card pick-me-ups, Stacking the Deck for Life Balance with Dr. Marissa. And just like 3 people have done so, Eva from Kentucky, and Daia from Long Beach, and Janina from LA, all 3 of them got the prize because they were able to not complain for 21 days in a row. So they're challenging you as well as me. And another milestone, over 62,000 views on my YouTube channel in less than 2 years. Thank you so much. And I'm now all over iHeartRadio, as I mentioned before, on Progressive Talk Radio in Albuquerque, New Mexico. So if you're over there, tune into that channel and anywhere else iHeart is, and you will find me. And to highlight my birthday month, I like to celebrate for all of August. So I'm still offering my special $100 off any level of advertising here. One of the best things about my show is I get to highlight and have people support my show by highlighting their services and products that promote health and happiness. So I've been very fortunate the last couple of months to have some great guests as well as sponsors, from Clarity to Millie Hubbard and Foot Karma to Ken Sheets and Elizabeth England with their Indiegogo fundraiser for penguins that meditate on film. So please do sponsor me any way you can. Also go to the Balance Marketplace, because it is about putting your money where your desire for hope is. And I'm very grateful that I have so many people to thank this birthday season and beyond for all of the support that you've given me throughout the years. This is my 5th year on the air. This all started with just a a dream, really a voice in my dream saying radio, and I'm glad I listened to it because I really do love my work and I love my listeners and my supporters. So happy birthday to you from me for me. How's that? And next week, it's my annual back to school special with my first millennial panel. Yes, last year, my older daughter, Chloe, she was here with her friend Renee. And she did a back-to-school special on bullies and body image. And so this year, it's my younger daughter's turn. And I'm actually in New York right now. I love pre-record. I get to be in 2 places at the same time. And settling her in, she got into Cornell. Congratulations to Chloe. And so we're there right now. And my younger daughter, we pre-recorded with her friends. She's doing a millennial panel. So lots of fun. These kids will say just about anything, and I wanted for them to come and comment on the stereotypes that the media is not so kind sometimes on the millennials. So I wanted them to react to it as well as talk about what's important to them. And I'll give you a little hint. One of them, they're going to define memes for me, and they're also going to talk about sexual identity and why that's important and why it's not just a fad for them. So it's going to be a great show. So tune in next Tuesday and Thursday and Saturday on my syndicated talk radio show called Take My Advice. I'm not using it. Get balanced with Dr. Marissa Pay. That's P for positive, EI. And remember, it's all about balance. Peace in and peace out.
Learned to cry at an early age. People around me, my heart in a cage. It was a book, don't turn a page. I couldn't see past my rage.